So in the late Paleozoic, we have the Abscarosa seaway, which is our last transgressive regressive cycle of the Paleozoic. And the Abscarosa doesn't just transgress nicely, as we've seen before with the Sauk sequence, the Tippecanoe, and the Cascasia. Instead, what we see of one big strong transgression is we get a pulse of a transgression and then a little bit of a regression, and then a transgression and a regression, and a transgression and a regression. So what we're getting are pulses of seawater, pulses of high sea level. Okay, so instead of having this nice, beautiful sequence, right, where we've seen before, where we have our sandstone, then we have our shale, then we have our limestone. Instead of having this nice, beautiful sequence, what we're essentially getting is we will get this sequence where we're going to start out with non-marine. So I'm going to have this unit, right? Of course, this is my land. So maybe I have a land beach around a river. Maybe I have some coal, right? Maybe I have some clay. And now here comes my transgression. And that transgression is going to be what we've seen, right? We'll have our sandstone, our shale, and our limestone. And then we're going to get a little bit of a regression. So we're going to go back to our non-marine sequence. All right, so I'm going to go back to land, right? Coal and clay. And then we're going to have another transgression. So basically what we're seeing here, right, is this non-marine, marine, back to non-marine. Now each marine and non-marine cycle is called a cyclothem. So if we think about it, what is causing this? Well, we have Pangea forming. So as Pangea forms, we're going to have continents that are kind of bumping and colliding and scooting on and off the pole. We have an ocean wave closing up. And because of that ocean wave closing up and we're squeezing water out of both sides, we're going to get these pulses of sea level change. So essentially, these cyclothems are a direct result of Pangea closing. So again, all a cyclothem is we're going to get pulses of high sea level. So we're going to have a non-marine deposit. Hopefully you recognize that non-marine means land, right? Anything that's on land. And then we get that transgression. And because we get a small transgression, we get a marine deposit. And then we get a regression. So then we get our non-marine. And then the same thing happens again. And we see there's about 10 or so cyclothems for this time period. So we're getting quite a bit of pulses, right, of sea level fluctuation.